As we grow older, life begins to teach us lessons that youth often cannot understand. When we are young, we believe happiness comes having more money, more possessions, more recognition, more people around us, and more control over what happens tomorrow. But with age, many of these things slowly lose their importance. What once seemed essential begins to feel unnecessary, and what once seemed small becomes deeply valuable. Old age is not a punishment, it is an invitation to simplify. It is a stage of life where you can finally stop chasing everything that never truly belonged to you and begin protecting what genuinely brings peace to your heart. You do not need a perfect life. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need to prove that you were right, successful, or important. You need only a few things, but you need them deeply. The first thing you need is peace within yourself. There comes a time when you realize that arguing with everyone is exhausting, carrying every disappointment is painful, and constantly thinking about what others think of you is a waste of precious energy. Peace begins when you stop fighting battles that do not deserve your attention. Not every insult requires a response. Not every misunderstanding requires an explanation. Not every person deserves access to your emotions. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is remain silent, breathe deeply, and walk away. Your mind has carried you through decades of experiences. It has witnessed happiness, loss, failure, love, disappointment, change, and uncertainty. Now it deserves rest. Do not spend your remaining years replaying old conversations and asking yourself what you should have said. Do not punish yourself for mistakes you made when you were younger and wiser only in hindsight. You did what you could with the understanding you had at that time. Forgive your younger self. You cannot change yesterday, but you can change the way yesterday lives inside you. The second thing you need is meaningful relationships. As we grow older, we begin to understand that having many people around us does not necessarily mean having companionship. One sincere relationship can be worth more than 100 shallow connections. Choose people who bring calm rather than chaos. Stay close to those who listen without judging, who respect your boundaries, who remember your struggles, and who do not make you feel that you must earn their love. And remember that relationships require presence. Call someone you love. Sit with them. Ask how they are doing. Share a meal. Listen to their stories even if you have heard them before. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give another person is simply your attention. At the same time, do not be afraid to release relationships that constantly drain your spirit. Growing older should teach you that protecting your peace is not selfish. You are allowed to step away from people who repeatedly hurt you. You are allowed to choose a solitude over toxic company. You are allowed to say no. The third thing you need is gratitude. Gratitude changes the way you see your life. When you focus only on what is missing, even a comfortable life can feel empty. But when you begin noticing what remains, your heart becomes lighter. You may no longer have the strength you had decades ago, but you can still enjoy the warmth of sunlight on your face. You may not have everything you once dreamed of, but you can appreciate the people who still care about you. You may have experienced losses, but you can still be grateful for the memories that remain. Do not wait for something extraordinary before deciding that your life is worth appreciating. A quiet morning can be enough. A cup of tea can be enough. A peaceful conversation can be enough. A walk in fresh air can be enough. The ability to wake up and experience another day is itself something worthy of gratitude. Gratitude does not mean pretending that life has never been painful. It means refusing to let pain become the only story you tell yourself. The fourth thing you need is acceptance. Many people suffer in old age because they continue fighting reality. They want their body to remain young, their children to behave exactly as they wish, the past to return, and the world to remain the way it used to be. But life changes, bodies change, relationships change, circumstances change, people change, and resisting change does not stop it. It only creates additional suffering. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing reality clearly enough to decide what can still be changed and what must simply be released. If your body is slower than before, treat it with kindness instead of anger. If your children have their own lives, allow them to live them. If certain opportunities have passed, stop standing at the door of the past waiting for them to return. There is dignity in accepting what cannot be controlled. You do not have to control every outcome to live peacefully. Sometimes peace begins with 3 simple words. This is enough. The fifth thing you need is purpose. Age does not remove your ability to contribute something meaningful to the world. Your purpose may simply look different now. Perhaps your purpose is to guide younger people with the wisdom you gained through experience. Perhaps it is caring for someone you love. Perhaps it is learning something you never had time to learn. Perhaps it is writing, gardening, walking, teaching, creating, praying, helping, or simply becoming a calmer person. Never tell yourself that your life has no meaning because you are older. A tree does not become useless because it is old. Its shade becomes more valuable. Its branches become a shelter. Its roots become deeper. Your experiences are your roots. Everything you survived taught you something. Every mistake gave you understanding. Every loss showed you what truly matters. Every difficult season strengthened some part of you. Now, you have the opportunity to transform your experience into wisdom. And perhaps the greatest wisdom is learning what you no longer need. You do not need to impress everyone. You do not need to win every argument. You do not need to chase every opportunity. You do not need to carry every regret. You do not need to fear every tomorrow. You need peace. You need genuine connection. You need gratitude. You need acceptance. And you need a reason to wake up with a quiet sense that this day still has something meaningful to offer. Old age can become one of the most beautiful chapters of life when you stop measuring its value by what you have lost and begin recognizing what you have gained. You have gained perspective. You have gained patience. You have gained stories. You have gained wisdom that cannot be purchased, so do not look at your age as a countdown. Look at it as an invitation to live more intentionally. Let unnecessary worries fall away. Let old resentment become lighter. Let people be who they are. Let the past remain where it belongs. Let tomorrow arrive when it arrives. And today, choose to breathe a little deeper, speak a little kinder, forgive a little more freely, and appreciate the simple things that are still present in your life. As you grow older, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is inner peace. Not the temporary peace that comes when everything goes according to your wishes, but the deeper peace that remains even when life is uncertain. With age, you begin to understand that you cannot control everything that happens around you. You cannot control how people behave, what they say about you, how quickly circumstances change, or what tomorrow may bring. But you can learn to control how much power these things have over your mind. For many years, you may have spent your energy trying to fix situations that were never completely yours to fix. You may have tried to make everyone understand you, to prove your intentions, to defend every decision, and to correct every misunderstanding. But eventually, you discover something important. Peace is often more valuable than being right. Not every argument deserves your voice. Not every criticism deserves your attention. Not every person deserves an explanation. Sometimes walking away is not weakness. Sometimes silence is not surrender. Sometimes choosing peace is the greatest sign that you have finally understood your own worth. As you enter the later chapters of life, ask yourself how much unnecessary weight you are still carrying. Perhaps there is an old argument you remember again and again. Perhaps someone hurt you many years ago, and although that person has moved on, you continue reliving the moment. Perhaps you still blame yourself for a decision you made decades ago. But the past cannot be changed by punishing yourself in the present. You were once a different person. You had different knowledge, different circumstances, different fears, and different hopes. You made decisions based on what you understood at that time. Maybe some were wrong. Maybe some caused pain. But mistakes are part of being human. You do not have to spend the rest of your life standing before the door of yesterday, wishing you could walk through it again. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness does not mean saying that everything that happened was acceptable. It means refusing to allow an old wound to control the rest of your life. When you forgive, you are not giving the past permission to hurt you again. You are taking your own freedom back. The same is true when someone has wronged you. Holding resentment can feel like carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. You may believe that your anger keeps you protected, but often it simply keeps you connected to the person or event that hurt you. You deserve to be free from that connection. Let people remain responsible for their actions, while you become responsible for your peace. This does not mean you must return to people who repeatedly hurt you. Acceptance does not require closeness. Forgiveness does not require trust. You can forgive someone and still maintain distance. You can wish someone well and still decide that they no longer belong in your daily life. Peace sometimes requires boundaries. As you grow older, your energy becomes more precious. You begin to realize that you cannot spend it everywhere. You cannot respond to every opinion, solve every problem, or carry every person's emotions. There is wisdom in becoming selective about what deserves your attention. Protect your mornings from unnecessary negativity. Protect your conversations from constant arguments. Protect your mind from endless comparison. Protect your heart from people who only appear when they need something. Your peace is not something you should give away casually. Acceptance is another doorway to inner peace. Life will continue changing whether you accept it or not. Your appearance may change. Your strength may change. People you love may move away or take different paths. Plans you once had may no longer be possible. The natural reaction is often resistance. You may think, why is this happening to me? But another question can bring greater peace. What can I learn from this moment? That question changes everything. Instead of fighting reality, you begin working with it. Instead of demanding that life return to the way it was, you begin discovering what is still possible now. Maybe you cannot run as you once did, but you can still walk. Maybe you cannot work the way you once did, but you can still teach. Maybe your family has changed, but you can still offer love. Maybe some dreams are behind you, but new experiences can still enter your life. Acceptance does not close the door to hope. It opens the door to a different kind of hope. There is also peace in accepting that you cannot control what others think of you. Someone may misunderstand you. Someone may criticize you. Someone may never recognize your efforts. Let them. You do not need every person to approve of your life. If you spend your remaining years trying to satisfy everyone, you may never have enough time left to live according to your own values. Choose what matters. Speak kindly. Live honestly. Help when you can. Apologize when you are wrong. Set boundaries when necessary. And then allow people to form whatever opinions they choose. Your life does not become less valuable because someone else fails to understand it. Inner peace is built through small decisions repeated every day. It is choosing not to answer an angry message immediately. It is taking a breath before reacting. It is going for a quiet walk instead of continuing an argument. It is putting down the phone when negativity becomes overwhelming. It is spending time with people who make your heart feel lighter. You do not have to become a completely different person overnight. Begin with one thought, one breath, one moment. When something troubles you, pause and ask yourself, will this still matter to me a year from now? If the answer is no, perhaps it does not deserve today's peace. And when something cannot be changed, gently remind yourself that acceptance is not defeat. It is the decision to stop fighting a battle that reality has already decided. As life moves forward, you begin to understand that happiness is not measured by how many people know your name, how many possessions you own, or how many achievements you can place behind you. What truly gives life warmth is the quality of the relationships you have and your ability to recognize the blessings that are already present. When you reach the later chapters of life, meaningful relationships and gratitude become more valuable than almost anything money can buy. There was perhaps a time when you believed you needed many people around you to feel important. You may have attended gatherings, maintained countless connections, answered every message, and tried to remain available to everyone. But with experience, you begin to see the difference between being surrounded and being understood. You do not need a crowd. You need a few people with whom you can be completely yourself. A person who sits beside you without needing constant conversation can be more valuable than someone who speaks to you every day but never truly listens. A friend who remembers your struggles can be more precious than dozens of acquaintances who only remember your success. As you grow older, do not measure relationships by quantity. Measure them by sincerity. Who brings peace into your life? Who listens when you speak? Who respects your boundaries? Who celebrates your happiness without jealousy? Who remains present when you have nothing to offer? These are the relationships worth protecting. But meaningful relationships do not happen by accident. They require attention. Sometimes we become so busy with our own worries that we forget to reach out to the people we love. We assume they know we care, so we stop expressing it. Do not make that mistake. Tell people that you appreciate them. Call someone simply because you were thinking about them. Ask an old friend how life has treated them. Sit with a family member and listen to their story. Share a meal without looking at your phone. These small moments may seem ordinary, but they often become the memories people treasure most. There will also be relationships that change with time. Someone who was once very close may become distant. Children grow up and build their own lives. Friends move to different places. Circumstances change. This can be painful, but it is part of life. Do not force every relationship to remain exactly as it was. Some people are meant to walk beside you for many years. Others may accompany you for only one chapter. Their departure does not mean the relationship had no value. Sometimes love means allowing people to grow in directions you cannot follow. And sometimes protecting yourself means accepting that a relationship has become unhealthy. You do not have to remain connected to someone simply because you have known them for a long time. History alone does not create peace. If someone constantly insults you, manipulates you, disrespects you, or fills your life with unnecessary conflict, distance can be an act of wisdom. You can care about someone without allowing them to disturb your inner world. You can forgive without returning to the same situation. You can love someone from a distance. At the same time, do not allow disappointment from a few people to make you distrust everyone. There are still kind people in the world. There are still genuine friendships waiting to be discovered. There are still conversations that can make you smile unexpectedly. Keep your heart open. but keep your judgment wise. Alongside meaningful relationships, gratitude can transform the way you experience every day. Gratitude does not require a perfect life. In fact, gratitude becomes most powerful when life is imperfect. Look around you. Perhaps there is someone who still cares about you. Perhaps you have a peaceful place where you can rest. Perhaps you can still enjoy a morning breeze, sunlight through a window, the smell of fresh food, or the sound of rain. These things may seem small, but life is made of small things. We often spend years waiting for major moments of happiness while overlooking the quiet moments happening in front of us. We say, I will be happy when I have more money. I will be happy when my problems disappear. I will be happy when my family changes. I will be happy when everything becomes easier. But life rarely becomes completely free of problems. If happiness always depends on perfect circumstances, you may spend your entire life waiting. Gratitude teaches you to find beauty in what already exists. It does not mean ignoring pain. You can be grateful and still have difficult days. You can appreciate your life while mourning something you lost. You can smile while carrying memories that still hurt. Gratitude simply prevents pain from becoming the only thing you see. Try beginning your day by noticing 3 things that are still present: your breath, your health as it is today, a person you love, a comfortable bed, a meal, a peaceful moment, a memory that makes you smile, a lesson you learned through hardship. You may discover that your life contains more blessings than your mind has been trained to notice. And gratitude changes how you see people as well. Instead of focusing only on what someone did wrong, remember what they have done right. Instead of complaining that a loved one does not call often enough, appreciate the moments when they do. Instead of becoming angry because someone cannot give you everything you want, recognize what they are able to give. People are imperfect. You are imperfect. Expecting perfection from relationships guarantees disappointment. What matters is sincerity, effort, compassion, and understanding. As you grow older, become generous with appreciation. Compliment someone while they can still hear it. Thank people for the things you once considered ordinary. Tell your family what they mean to you. Do not assume there will always be another opportunity. One day, a simple conversation may become a precious memory. One day, the person you keep postponing a visit with may no longer be there. Life reminds us that time is not something we possess. It is something we are given, moment by moment, so use it wisely. Choose people over unnecessary arguments. Choose conversations over distractions. Choose gratitude over constant comparison. Choose presence over perfection. The older you become, the clearer it becomes that the richest life is not necessarily the one filled with the most possessions. It is the one filled with moments that mattered, people who were loved, forgiveness that was offered, kindness that was shared, and simple blessings that were noticed. There is a moment in life when you begin to realize that your age does not determine your value. Society often teaches us to measure ourselves by productivity, achievement, money, appearance, and status. When those things begin to change with age, it can be easy to believe that your most meaningful years are behind you. But that is an illusion. Your purpose does not disappear simply because your life has entered a different season. In many ways, your later years can become the time when your deepest wisdom finally becomes useful. Purpose does not always have to be something dramatic. It does not have to mean building a business, becoming famous, or accomplishing something that thousands of people will remember. Purpose can be quiet. It can exist in the way you care for someone, the advice you give, the kindness you offer, the knowledge you share, or the example you set for younger people. You have lived through experiences that someone else has never encountered. You have made mistakes. You have experienced disappointment. You have watched people come and go. You have survived difficult seasons that once seemed impossible to survive. All of these experiences have given you something that cannot be purchased: perspective. Do not underestimate the value of that perspective. A younger person may have energy, ambition, and confidence, but they may not yet understand the lessons that only time can teach. Your words can save someone from making a mistake you once made. Your patience can calm someone who feels lost. Your story can remind someone that failure is not the end. You do not need to lecture anyone. Sometimes your greatest influence comes from simply living with dignity. When younger people see you respond to difficulty without bitterness, they learn strength. When they see you forgive instead of seeking revenge, they learn wisdom. When they see you remain grateful despite challenges, they learn resilience. Your life itself can become a message. Another important part of purpose is continuing to learn. Never convince yourself that learning belongs only to the young. As long as you are alive, there is something new to discover. Write a book, learn a skill, try a new recipe. Explore a place you have never visited. Learn how technology works. Listen to music you have never heard before. Talk to someone from a different generation. Ask questions. Curiosity keeps the mind alive. You may not learn things as quickly as you once did, and that is completely fine. Learning is not a race. You do not need to become an expert. You only need to remain open. There is something beautiful about approaching life with the attitude of a beginner. You do not need to know everything. You do not need to pretend you have all the answers. You can simply say, I want to understand. That humility can bring freshness into your life. Purpose can also be found in service. Helping others gives your experience a direction. It reminds you that your presence can still make someone's day better. Help a neighbor. Teach a child something useful. Share your experience with someone starting their journey. Prepare food for someone who needs it. Listen to a person who feels lonely. Offer encouragement to someone who has lost confidence. These actions may appear small, but never underestimate small acts of kindness. You may forget the exact words you spoke, but someone else may remember how your words made them feel for years. At the same time, purpose does not mean exhausting yourself for everyone. You are not required to solve every problem. You are not responsible for carrying the entire world. There is wisdom in knowing where your responsibility ends. Help when you can, rest when you need to. Say no when necessary. Your purpose should give your life meaning, not destroy your peace. Another important part of growing older is learning to release the identity you built around the past. Maybe you were once a successful professional. Maybe you were the person everyone depended on. Maybe you were physically strong, financially powerful, or constantly busy. Those identities may have shaped you, but they do not define your entire existence. You are more than your job. You are more than your achievements. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than your possessions. When these things change, you remain. There is still a person inside you capable of loving, learning, helping, creating, and growing. Do not spend your later years comparing today's version of yourself with the person you were 30 years ago. You do not need to become your younger self again. You need to become fully present with who you are now. Your purpose may be smaller than it once was, but smaller does not mean less meaningful. Perhaps your purpose now is to become peaceful. Perhaps it is to repair one relationship. Perhaps it is to spend more time with family. Perhaps it is to write down your memories so future generations can understand where they came from. Perhaps it is simply to live each day with awareness rather than rushing through it. There is dignity in simplicity. A meaningful life does not require constant excitement. Sometimes purpose is found in ordinary routines, waking up early, making your own tea, taking a quiet walk, watering plants, reading something inspiring, talking to someone you love, watching the sunset, reflecting on your life. These moments can become deeply meaningful when you stop treating them as insignificant, and as you continue forward, remember that wisdom is not only about knowing what to do. It is also about knowing what's doing. Stop chasing approval. Stop carrying unnecessary guilt. Stop competing with people who are walking a different path. Stop trying to control everything. Stop believing that your best days must look like your younger days. Your life has changed and you are allowed to change with it. Perhaps the greatest purpose of your later years is not to accumulate more, but to become lighter, lighter in your thoughts, lighter in your expectations, lighter in your attachments, lighter in your fears. You can leave behind the things that no longer serve you and keep only what has genuine meaning. Your age is not a reason to stop living, it is a reason to live more consciously. You have already spent many years learning what does not matter. Now you can dedicate your time to what does. Choose kindness, choose curiosity, choose meaningful relationships, choose peace, choose service, choose the simple joys that are still available to you. And whenever you wake up to another day, remember that the story of your life has not become meaningless simply because one chapter has ended. There is still room for wisdom, connection, purpose, and quiet growth in the pages that remain.